Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. 32761 back again. In today's video I would like to talk to you about gear ratios and sprockets. So what I would like to talk about is selecting the right gear ratio for your application. Unlike hub motor, a mid-drive setup requires a proper gear ratio in order to get the right performance, to optimize the right performance of your motor, and to get the right acceleration, the right top speed, and the right torque for your application. You have to select the right gear ratio. So unlike hub motors, which have the motor built into the wheel, you don't have to really mess with that when dealing with a hub motor. But I'm dealing with a mid-drive motor, which requires, you know, setting up your gear ratio accordingly to your application. So what I have here is a 77 tooth sprocket made from Rebel gears, and what I plan on doing with this, I plan on installing this where the older sprocket was installed to increase my torque. I'm not too concerned about higher top speed. I'm more concerned about the torque, to increase my torque level. So what I'm gonna do is install this here and keep the same front gear. For a motorcycle like this, because it has a bigger wheel and a heavier motorcycle, it's very important to select the right gear ratio for your application. If not, if you don't have the proper gear ratio, you won't have the right acceleration and top speed. And also, you know, the bigger the wheel, the lower the gearing. You know, the bigger the wheel, let me put it this way, okay? The bigger the wheel, the bigger the sprocket size. Especially if you don't have a reduction, you know, setup, as far as, like, you know, having, you know, the motor reduce the RPM to transfer, you know, the power to the wheel. If you don't have the right setup, as you can see, this I have a 60 tooth sprocket on the rear, and I have a 11 tooth on the front. It's not like the most torquiest, you know, application, or the most torquiest, you know, dirt bike. I mean, it's fun, it's a fun dirt bike, but you know, I could get a little bit more performance out of it. And that was the reason why I bought this big, huge sprocket, you know, to optimize the performance of the motor. That way I can increase the torque of the motor and, you know, maybe get the right top speed that I'm looking for. If I can get the right top speed, if you have a controller capable of field weakening, you can always increase the speed of the motor or the bike. You know, that's one thing about gear ratios. You have to select the right gear ratio for your application. If not, you're gonna have to trade off, you know, higher top speed, lower torque, or lower torque, higher top speed. No, I meant higher torque and lower top speed, you know. So it's very important selecting the right gear ratio for your application. So with my 11 tooth on the front and 77 tooth I'm gonna have on back, I should have a very, very, you know, decent acceleration, or decent, you know, torque for my application. And I'm gonna try it out and see how I like the my top speed. If I don't really like the speed I'm getting with this gear ratio, then I'm gonna mess around with the field weakening or the flux weakening on the controller. That should help increase my top speed. And also, I've noticed with a small wheel, usually this kind of setup is, like, you know, very optimum for a dirt bike with a much smaller wheel. The smaller the wheel on the back, the more the torque. The bigger the wheel, the lesser the torque. So it's simple mathematics for a bike this heavy. So one thing you have to do, the bigger the wheel or the heavier the bike, the bigger the sprocket. The smaller the wheel, the smaller the sprocket. So that's one of the things you have to consider when dealing with a mid-drive setup like this, or mid-drive dirt bike, if you don't have, you know, motors like this, we don't have like a way to kind of change your gears and stuff, so you have to kind of mess around with the gearing and see what works best for you and what fits your application the best in order to get the right performance out of your electric vehicles. So like I was saying, if you don't have a reduction drive, you're gonna have to just keep changing and changing and changing the rear sprocket, or you can also mess with the front sprocket, but I think it's kind of easier to mess with the front, you know, the rear sprocket. So with that being said about the gear ratio and sprockets, I'm going to change this over and put it on my wheel. So this is what it looks like, you know, side by side. And let's see how big this one is. This is about almost 10 inches from side to side. About 10 inches from teeth to teeth. And this one, let's see, this one is about This one is about 12 and a quarter, about 12 inches and a quarter. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this on and test it out and see how it feels. So to change this sprocket, you need a 6mm Allen key socket, and you also need a 12mm wrench. It's kind of tight, a little bit tight. It's a little bit hard, but it's coming up slowly. It's kind of tight. Okay, so I just got the other sprocket off, and I'm about to put the new one in. This is made out of aluminum, and this is steel. And one of the reasons why I bought this was because I bought this for like $20. It was really cheap, about $25, I mean. So it was really cheap. I bought that on eBay, and that was the reason why I bought this, just to test the motor out to see how, you know, it performs. Then later on in the future, I had plans on upgrading the sprocket. So I want to install the other bolt in on this sprocket right now. So you want to make sure you put some anti-seize on it, just a little bit on each bolt, to prevent the stuff from rusting and seizing up, because I almost had like a nightmare trying to get one of this bolt out. It was so tough and so hard to get out. So you want to make sure you put a little bit of anti-seize on it, just like that, to make the whole process easy, just in case you have to get it up the next time. Like that. You don't need too much of this. If you put too much, you're gonna make it look so messy. It's gonna look like a big mess. So just put a little bit, and that's all you need. Okay guys, so I just got done installing the new sprocket, and this is what it looks like on the wheel. Here's a side-by-side comparison between the old sprocket and the new sprocket. As you can see, this is massive. This is like an inch longer on both sides, from here to here and here to here. So that makes it right around 2 inches overall, from this side to this side. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on the bike, and maybe I might have to add some more links to the chain and test it out and tell you guys what I think about it, my first impression about it. Okay guys, so as you can see, my previous chain is not long enough to get joined together, so I went to grab an extra link, and I might have to end this video from here because the mosquitoes are killing me and it's getting really dark. So I'll let you guys know how it feels, my first impression on the bike's performance with the new sprocket on. Hey guys, Brito 761 back again. I ran into an issue with my sprocket. The sprocket was coming in contact with the chain guide. Let me show you. So because of how wide the sprocket is, it comes in contact with the chain guide. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to grind off the welds on this side, and I already grounded this side a little bit, so that way I can take off the chain guide and I shouldn't have any problem with the sprocket coming in contact with the chain guide. So that's what I'm working on right now, and I'll give you guys an update once I get there. I'm gonna do now is try to knock it with a hammer and see if I can knock it out. There we go. As you can see, I just got it out. What I did was just grind up the weld, and that was it. That's all it took. Just grinding up the weld and knocking it off with a hammer, and it came right out. This is what you have to deal with when you work with a much bigger sprocket like this. This is a 77 tooth sprocket, so it's so much bigger than the 62 sprocket I had on the bike. So yeah, that's it. So the next thing I need to do right now is to grind up the welds on this side, grind it off, make it smooth, and yeah, make it look nice. So I just grinded this down. It looks okay. It's not like 100% flush, but you know, I'm trying to avoid, you know, damaging the frame. So, you know, damaging the frame. Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. I don't really want to take a chance. Just trying to make it, you know, too flush and end up, you know, damaging the frame. But so far so good. I think it's fine. You know, as long as it doesn't come in contact with this sprocket, it should be good. As you can see, there is nothing for the sprocket to rub on right now. It spins freely. Before, the chain guide used to be somewhere around here, and it comes in contact with the sprocket, so now everything moves freely. So the next step is to install the chain and test the bike out and see how it feels. So now I got the new sprocket on the back wheel of the bike, so I'm just gonna turn it on and see how it feels. Just spin it just a little bit, then after that I'll take it for a ride, and maybe I might have to adjust the tension on the chain, because the 3-finger method doesn't really work that well for this application. So I'm gonna see if I need to adjust the tension of the chain, make it a little bit slacky, or make it, you know, tighter. It feels tight right now, but make it just slack, have a little bit of slack, and we'll go from there. As you can see, it sounds scary. I don't know why, maybe because of the increase in torque, but it sounds a little bit more scary than before. So I'm gonna take it for a ride and see how it feels. So here's a quick update on the bike. As of right now, the way the bike feels, it feels much more torquey than before, and the front wheel comes up easily, so easily. So yeah, it feels more aggressive than before. I mean, it's fun. Actually, it's a blast to ride. And so yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.